Question. An individual's driving privileges may be suspended under which of the following conditions? Option number 1. 3 traffic violation convictions during a 12-month period if the driver is under 21 at the time of arrest, 2 traffic violations within any 24-month period. Option number 2. Having an alcohol concentration of greater than 0.00 but less than 0.08 by a person under 21 age. Option number 3. Illegal transportation of alcohol twice in 12 months if age 21 or older. Option number 4. All of the above. The answer is option number 4. All of the above. Note: a suspension is a temporary loss of driving privileges. When the suspension is for a specific length of time, a driver may regain driving privileges after the suspension has ended and reinstatement fees has been paid. In some cases, the driver's license will not be returned until other requirements are met. Question. Before a driver can regain driving privileges after losing them for failure to pay for damages caused by a crash, the driver must file proof of financial responsibility with the Secretary of State's office. Option number 1. True. Option number 2. False. The answer is option number 1. True. Note: drivers without liability insurance who are at fault in a crash that results in injury, death, or property damage must provide a guarantee of payment to the Secretary of State's office. Failure to post this security may result in suspension of their license. Drivers are required to file proof of financial responsibility if any of the following apply. They receive an unsatisfied court judgment related to a crash. The driver's license was suspended under the safety responsibility law due to an uninsured crash. They received a court supervision for a mandatory insurance violation. They have been convicted of 3 or more mandatory insurance violations. Proof of financial responsibility may include a certificate of insurance SR22, a bond, or a deposit of securities such as stock certificates. The SR22 is filed directly with the Secretary of State by the insurance company. The Secretary of State monitors insurance coverage for a period of time specified by law. Failure to renew insurance coverage or cancellation of insurance will result in a driver's license suspension. Question. It is illegal for persons under the age 21 to drive with any trace of alcohol or drugs in their system. Option number 1. True. Option number 2. False. The answer is option number 1. True. Note: drivers who are under age 21 and found to have any trace of alcohol in their system while operating a motor vehicle will have their driving privileges suspended for a minimum of 3 months. If the driver's license was suspended prior to age 21, the driver will be required to successfully complete a driver remedial education course. In addition, the driver may be required to submit to a complete driver's license examination to be reissued a driver's license. Question. A driver whose license has been revoked as a result of DUI must meet several requirements, including an evaluation of alcohol and drug problems and paying a reinstatement fee to regain their license. Option number 1. True. Option number 2. False. The answer is option number 1. True. Note: before driving privileges are restored, the person must undergo an alcohol or drug evaluation, successfully complete a rehabilitation or alcohol or drugs education program, have an administrative hearing with the Secretary of State, pay a reinstatement fee and/or meet other requirements. A DUI conviction also requires a driver to file financial responsibility insurance for 3 years. Question. What is the only effective way to remove alcohol from the body? Option number 1. Strong coffee. Option number 2. Time. Option number 3. Cold shower. Option number 4. All of the above. The answer is option number 2. Time. Note: time is the only way to remove the effects of alcohol. Food, coffee, and showers do not speed up the elimination of alcohol from the body. Question. Motorcyclists are entitled to use the full width of a traffic lane. Therefore, a driver should pass a motorcycle the same way a driver would pass another vehicle. Option number 1, true. Option number 2, false. The answer is option number 1, true. Note: traffic conditions and road surfaces will determine the area within the lane that the motorcyclist will use. Although there may be enough room in the traffic lane for an automobile and a motorcyclist, a vehicle driver should remember that the motorcyclist needs the room to maneuver safely and is entitled to the entered lane. A vehicle driver should not share the lane with motorcyclists. Question: a driver does not need to allow as much distance when following a motorcycle as when following a car. Option number 1, true. Option number 2, false. The answer is option number 2, false. Note: a vehicle driver should allow at least 3 to 4 seconds following distance when behind a motorcycle so the motorcyclist has enough time to maneuver in an emergency. In dry conditions, motorcycles can stop more quickly than a car. Vehicle drivers should dim their headlights when following all vehicles including motorcycles. Motorcycles can stop in a shorter distance than a car. A motorcyclist's ability to stop quickly also may depend on the rider's experience and training. Question: when a motorist is turning right and a bicyclist is approaching on the right, let the bicyclist go through the intersection first before making a right turn. Option number 1, true. Option number 2, false. The answer is option number 1, true. Note: if motorists are turning right and a bicyclist is approaching on the right, they should let the bicyclist go through the intersection first before making a right turn. A driver should remember to signal when turning. Question: unless authorized to do so, drivers may not break into the line of a funeral procession. Option number 1, true. Option number 2, false. The answer is option number 1, true. Note: motorists encountering a funeral procession must yield the right of way to all vehicles in the procession. Motorists in a funeral procession should have their headlights and hazard lights turned on. Motorists should not drive between vehicles in an organized funeral procession except when directed to do so by a law enforcement officer. Vehicles are prohibited from joining a funeral procession for the purpose of securing the right of way or attempting to pass any vehicle in an organized funeral procession except where a passing lane has been specifically provided. Local municipalities may impound a vehicle that interferes with a funeral procession due to reckless driving. Question: only vehicles displaying special plates or parking placards for persons with disabilities may park in spaces reserved for them by an official parking for persons with disabilities sign. Option number 1, true. Option number 2, false. The answer is option number 1, true. Note: vehicles displaying license plates or parking placards for persons with disabilities may use spaces reserved for persons with disabilities. The authorized holder of the parking placard or license plates must be present and must enter or exit the vehicle at the time the parking privileges are being used. A stripped area on the pavement next to the disabled parking space is part of the reserved space, and vehicles may not use this stripped area for parking even if they have a disabled parking placard or disability license plates. Question: it is permissible to pass on a two-lane two-way roadway within 100 feet of an intersection or railroad crossing. Option number 1, true. Option number 2, false. The answer is option number 2, false. Note: there are a number of situations in which it is prohibited to pass a two-lane two-way roadway. Passing in a two-lane two-way roadway is not allowed in an area marked for no passing by a solid yellow line or with a do not pass or no passing zone sign, on a hill or curve where it is not possible to see oncoming vehicles, within 100 feet of an intersection or railroad crossing, when the view is blocked within 100 feet of any bridge, viaduct, or tunnel, when a vehicle has stopped at a crosswalk or intersection to allow a pedestrian to cross. In a construction zone, all construction zones in Illinois are no passing zones. In any school zone located in an unincorporated area, in any posted school zone in an incorporated area, when a school bus has stopped to load or discharge passengers. Question. Drivers may open car doors on the side on which traffic is moving only when it can be done safely and without interfering with traffic. Option number 1, true. Option number 2, false. The answer is option number 1, true. Note: a driver or passenger may not open doors on the side of a vehicle on which traffic is moving unless it can be done safely and without interfering with vehicle or bicycle traffic. The door may remain open only long enough to load or unload passengers. Drivers should consider using their right hand to open the vehicle door, as this gives them the opportunity to turn and check for oncoming vehicles and bicyclists. This is more commonly known as the Dutch reach. Question. When must a driver slow down for a school zone? Option number 1. On school days between 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. when children are present and where signs are posted. Option number 2. On weekends. Option number 3. Only during recess. Option number 4. All of the above. The answer is option number 1. On school days between 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. when children are present and where signs are posted. Note: when approaching a marked school zone between 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. on days when school is in operation and children are present, a driver must discontinue wireless or cell phone use unless using a hands-free device that may include the use of a single-sided headset, reduce speed to 20 miles per hour, and stop and yield the right of way to any children or adults in the crosswalk area. Question. Slow vehicles should use the left-hand lane except when passing or making a left turn. Option number 1, true. Option number 2, false. The answer is option number 2, false. Note: slow vehicles must use the right-hand lane except when passing or making a left turn. Question. Speed should be reduced below the posted speed limit for which of the following reasons? Option number 1. The driver is driving in unfavorable weather conditions. Option number 2. The driver is approaching and crossing an intersection. Option number 3. Both of the above. The answer is option number 3. Both of the above. Note: regardless of the posted speed limit, weather and traffic conditions may make it necessary to drive more slowly. A driver must take care to slow down when approaching and crossing an intersection, going around a curve, approaching the top of a hill, or traveling on a narrow and winding roadway. A driver must be aware that there may always be dangers present due to pedestrians, traffic, weather, mechanical problems, or road conditions. Question. It is permissible for anyone to wear a headset while driving. Option number 1, true. Option number 2, false. The answer is option number 2, false. Note: Illinois law prohibits the use of headsets while driving. Headsets are defined as any device other than a hearing aid that allows a person to hear or receive electronic communications. The use of a single-sided headset or earpiece with a wireless or cell phone device is permitted while driving. Motorcycle, motor-driven cycle, and moped operators may use intercom helmets which permit a driver and/or passengers to speak to one another. Question. Drivers must yield to pedestrians in an unmarked crosswalk. Option number 1, true. Option number 2, false. The answer is option number 1, true. Note: a driver must yield when a passenger is in an unmarked crosswalk on the driver's side of the roadway and there are no traffic control signals. Question. What should drivers do when approaching a construction area? Option number 1. Increase their speed to get out of the way quickly. Slow down, stop all wireless telephone communications and yield the right of way. Option number 3. Honk their horn several times to alert individuals walking in the area to their presence. The answer is option number 2. Slow down, stop all wireless telephone communications and yield the right of way. Note: When approaching or entering a highway construction or maintenance area, also known as work zones, Illinois law requires drivers to slow down, discontinue wireless or cell phone use unless using a hands-free device that may include the use of a single-sided headset, yield to any authorized vehicles or workers in the area, change to a lane away from the workers when possible, and proceed with caution. Question: for what distance should a continuous turn signal be given when making a left or right turn in a business or residential district? Option number 1: not less than 50 feet before turning. Option number 2: not less than 75 feet before turning. Option number 3: not less than 100 feet before turning. The answer is option number 3: not less than 100 feet before turning. Note: in a business or residential area, a driver must give a continuous turn signal for at least 100 feet before turning. In other areas, the signal must be given at least 200 feet before turning. Question: a driver must give the right or left turn signal when changing lanes. Option number 1: true. Option number 2: false. The answer is option number 1: true. Note: when moving a vehicle from the right-hand lane to the left-hand lane, the driver should check for traffic behind the vehicle and to the left by turning their head and visually assessing the area. If the area is clear, the driver should give the left turn signal and carefully move into the left lane. When moving a vehicle from the left-hand lane to the right-hand lane, drivers should check for traffic behind the vehicle and to the right by turning their head and visually assessing the area. If the area is clear, the driver should give the right turn signal and carefully move into the right lane. Question: what is the penalty for being convicted of illegally passing a stopped school bus? Option number 1: driving privileges or vehicle registration suspension and a $150 fine. Option number 2: 60 days suspension of driving privileges. Option number 3: $30 fine and 14 days suspension of driving privileges. The answer is option number 1: driving privileges or vehicle registration suspension and a $150 fine. Note: a conviction for passing a stop school bus with flashing lights and the stop arm extended will result in the suspension of an individual's driver's license. If the owners of the vehicle were not driving when the offense occurred, they must provide the state's attorney's office with the name of the person driving the vehicle, or their vehicle registration will be suspended for 3 months. Question: how should a driver proceed if within an intersection waiting to make a left turn and the traffic signal light turns red? Option number 1: wait in the intersection until the light turns green. Option number 2: yield to oncoming traffic and complete the turn. Option number 3: make sure it is clear, then back up from the intersection. The answer is option number 2: yield to oncoming traffic and complete the turn. Note: when making a left-hand turn into oncoming traffic, if drivers enter an intersection while the light is green, they may finish the turn even though the light turns red. Question: after making a proper stop and yielding to traffic or pedestrians within the intersection, it is permissible for drivers on a one-way street to turn left at a red light onto another one-way street that moves traffic to the left. Option number 1: true. Option number 2: false. The answer is option number 1: true. Note: it is permissible to make a left turn at a red light when turning from one-way street onto another one-way street that has traffic moving to the left. Before turning, you must come to a complete stop and yield the right of way to oncoming traffic and pedestrians. Question: when passing another vehicle, a driver should wait until the entire car the driver just passed is visible in the rearview mirror before turning back into the right-hand lane. Option number 1: true. Option number 2: false. The answer is option number 1: true. Note: drivers must use caution when passing another vehicle. On a two-lane highway, the left lane should be clearly visible and free of oncoming traffic for a distance greater enough to permit passing. Drivers should not turn back into the right-hand lane until the entire vehicle they have just passed is visible in the rearview mirror. Drivers must return to their lane before getting within 200 feet of an oncoming vehicle. The driver of the vehicle being passed must not increase speed until the passing vehicle has completed its maneuver. Question: a parent or legal guardian may request that the driver's license of a minor be cancelled at any time prior to the age 18. Option number 1, true. Option number 2, false. The answer is option number 1, true. Note: a driver aged 16 to 17 must have the written consent of a parent or legal guardian to obtain a driver's license. The parent or legal guardian who gave initial consent may cancel the minor's license at any time for any reason until the driver turns 18 by contacting the Secretary of State's office. Driving privileges will not be reinstated until the parent or legal guardian who withdrew consent once again provides consent or until the driver turns 18, whichever occurs first. The teen driver must reapply for a driver's license, take all applicable exams, and pay the appropriate fees. Question: is it true that you have to be 18 in order to obtain an Illinois driver's license? Option number 1, yes. Option number 2, no. The answer is option number 1, yes. Note: but the following expectations apply. If you are age 16 or 17, you may receive your license if you have completed a state-approved driver's education course, complete 50 hours of practice driving, and pass the 3 parts of the driver's license exam. Question: must you apply for a new driver's license after you legally change your name? Option number 1, yes. Option number 2, no. The answer is option number 1, yes. Note: an Illinois driver's license or ID card holder who has legally changed his or her name must apply for a corrected driver's license or ID card. This must be done within 30 days of the name change. The driver must provide documentation that links the new name to the name on the current driver's license or ID card and on the file with the Secretary of State's office. The name displayed on the driver's license or ID card will be the full given name and surname as recorded at birth, at marriage by the Social Security Administration, or as otherwise established through legal action. Question: how often must your driver's license be renewed if you are 87 years or older? Option number 1, quarterly. Option number 2, half yearly. Option number 3, annually. Option number 4, monthly. The answer is option number 3, annually. Note: a driver's license is valid for 4 years and expires on the driver's birthday except in the following cases. Drivers under age 21, license expires 3 months after their 21st birthday. Drivers aged 81 to 86, license valid for 2 years. Drivers age 87 and older, license requires annual renewal. Drivers holding a temporary visitor driver's license expires in 3 years or upon the expiration of immigration documents. Question: what does the basic exam require of you? Option number 1, identify traffic signs by shape, color or symbol. Option number 2, identify signs and pavement markings. Option number 3, answer multiple choice questions and true or false questions about traffic laws, safety rules, crash prevention and vehicle equipment. Option number 4, all of the above. The answer is option number 4, all of the above. Note: every driver must take a written exam every 8 years, except a driver having no traffic convictions. The basic written exam requires driver's license applicants to identify traffic signs by shape, color or symbol, identify signals and pavement markings, answer multiple choice and true or false questions about traffic laws, safety rules, crash preventions and vehicle equipment. The exam requirements for motorcycles, trucks and buses vary. Applicants should consult the appropriate operator's manual for these types of vehicles. Question: Are you required to carry your driver's license or permit with you when you drive? Option number 1, yes. Option number 2, no. The answer is option number 1, yes. Note: it's illegal not to have one.